I am joined now on the phone by futurist Vern Riediger. Good morning, Vern.
Good morning, Joel.
Thanks for being here so bright and early in the morning with us, Mr. Riediger. Can you tell us, what is a futurist?
I'll give you a definition from the Association of Professional Futurists. They define a futurist as a person who studies the future in order to help people understand, anticipate, prepare for, and gain advantage from coming changes. And it is not the goal of a futurist to predict what will happen in the future. The futurist uses foresight to describe what could happen in the future, and in some cases what should happen in the future.
So, Vern, I guess the question is, as you're studying the future, why do we try to study the future that far in advance in any event? And I guess, we all watched the Jetsons when we were younger. I don't have my flying car yet. It seems like so many predictions about the future are wrong. Why do you put your energy and time into studying the future?
Well, I guess you could also ask, why study history? And I think most would agree that society as a whole should learn from its own history. And then what would we do with what we've learned from history? Well, presumably we should apply it to our decision-making to create a better future. So why study the future? I would frame it more like studying and analyzing present trends in order to better understand what the future might hold. And then I would ask whether you would prefer being the person who sees things coming or the person who doesn't. So if you consider the field of demographics, for instance, we've all heard how the proportion of our population that is age 65 plus is growing. So we should foresee that this will impact many things in the next few decades. So this is not a mystery, but rather something that everyone should anticipate because we see the trends all around us.
Absolutely. I think when you asked, would you rather be the person who sees the future coming, we all would be. And I know you're a member of the World Future Society, and the society on their website says, the society takes no official position on what the future may or should be. Instead, it provides a neutral forum for exploring possible, probable, and preferable futures. So my question coming out of that excerpt from the website is, what criteria do you, as a futurist, use to determine what future is preferable?
I think this comes down really to personal and societal preferences. How would the majority of people describe their ideal future? It would most certainly have to involve their own health, the health of those around them, and the health of their community in which they live, either at the local or global level. So I would ask questions when making a decision about whether something would benefit the broader public health, the health of the community, and the health of the natural environment, which directly impacts on public health. So these would be some basic questions. I'm not sure I'm answering your question there.
Well, I think you did, but to take us from maybe the abstract down to the more concrete, I know that the World Future Society is holding its annual conference in Vancouver this July. What type of topics are on the agenda for the conference coming up in Vancouver?
Yeah, okay. The theme this year is moving from vision to action. And so there's a range of topics falling under a number of categories. And these categories are business and careers, environment and resources, health and wellness, learning and education, technology and science, global issues, government and security, social and cultural trends, and there's another category, studying the future, which focuses on methodologies used by futurists.
Which of those sessions are on your list to attend, Vern?
Well, I typically participate in sessions focused on environmental themes, also urban themes, and then I mix it in with a little bit of demographics, usually some social and technology trends. There are usually a few sessions focused on climate change, so I typically attend those. Quite often I struggle with which sessions to attend because there's often 2 or 3 sessions I'm interested in. But I can only, I don't jump around from session to session. I like to pick one and get something out of it. I miss a few.
Despite what the future might hold, most of us are still limited to one place at one time, at least right now.
Yeah.
On the World Future Society website, it says that opportunity as well as danger lie ahead, so people need to make far-sighted decisions. So, in your estimation, what is the single biggest danger that humanity faces in the next 20 to 25 years?
I read a book recently by a futurist, John L. Peterson, and basically it was called, it was written in 2008, and the book's called A Vision for 2012, Planning for Extraordinary Change. And he identifies 5 key global level breakdowns, and most of them are interconnected, so I cannot land on one single challenge, but I really agree with his thinking. A lot is driven by demographics. You've probably heard that the world is going to have 7 billion people living at one time on Earth. This is supposed to happen sometime later this year. So to put that into perspective, more people have been born on Earth in the last 50 years than in all of the preceding 5,000 years. And
wow.
Nearly half of those alive now are under the age of 25. And that is the largest youth generation in history. And most of these young people live in the developing world. So I think that really drives a lot, and it drives basically the other trends, which I'll just mention them briefly. The beginning of the end of oil, species extinction. For example, if present trends continue, there may be no fish in the oceans in less than 40 years. Then, of course, climate change is the big one, and other major economic disruptions. So I think we are seeing the impacts of all these things today. Just sometimes I watch the news and I see how many minutes are taken up with, the headlines. Like yesterday, it was the first 12 minutes were all about climate-related events in North America. So I think that these things are happening today.
Vern, I want to just take you back and make sure I heard you correctly. If present trends continue, there may be no fish left in the sea within 40 years?
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
That is absolutely startling. In the face of some of those dangers that you mentioned, the end of oil or peak oil, as we've discussed, climate change, environmental degradation, and just the pressure of having 7 billion humans on the planet. What do you think our biggest opportunity is? What is the opportunity and the promise that lies ahead as well?
Well, I think the biggest opportunity that I see is for the world to get itself off of fossil fuels, and by switching to renewable forms of energy wherever possible. Because I think, and that involves finding ways to store the energy derived from natural resources. So this really requires a massive reinvestment in our social infrastructure. But in the end, I think we will have a cleaner and healthier planet in which to enjoy our lives, and I think that really it's a real paradigm shift to. I don't see it happening very quickly, so I'm a little bit concerned about that. But I think it's imperative because it influences the climate change and a lot of other environmental trends. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges.
On the whole, and we've talked a lot about
opportunities too.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about our challenges and our opportunities. On the whole, do you find yourself optimistic or pessimistic about the future?
I'm of two minds on that because I'm optimistic about the power and the possibilities of individual creativity and innovation and how this could lead us to our desired future. But I'm also somewhat pessimistic about how society will support such innovation becoming recognized in time to save us from a rather disastrous future. I think the majority of people want to hold on to a past that simply is fading into history, and we tend to be risk averse as a society, and we put people, particularly decision makers, into positions of power, and we choose people that promise things that we can no longer have, and I think that's unfortunate.
To turn maybe to the more mundane from the big themes, if our listeners out there have had their interest piqued by what you've had to say, how does one go about joining the World Future Society, and can anyone join, or do I need a special qualification?
You don't need a special qualifications. Anyone can join. There are a range of futures organizations out there, but the one that I'm most connected with is the one you mentioned, the World Future Society. It currently has 25,000 people from more than 80 countries in the world.
How much would it cost me as an individual and organization to join the World Future Society?
I just checked that the other day, and the membership is $59 a year. You can also get a reduced rate if you want to join for two or 3 years. However, if you're a full-time student under the age of 25, the cost is, if I understood it correctly, only $20 a year. So that's pretty low.
That is an excellent deal for the students listening. Certainly check out where's the website that they go to get more information.
Okay, it's www.wfs.org. So yeah.
There it is. And for that membership fee, if I'm a student of $20, or for the rest of us $59, what do I get in addition to the annual conference that takes place?
You get a bi-monthly magazine publication called The Futurist. You can also subscribe to an online resource, the Future Times. And you get discounts. You don't get the conference free, but I know the rate for, if you're a student, you do get a lower rate. So the membership gives you a discount on the registration fees for the conference, and also on books published by the Society. And there's also an annual report that comes out that offers, it's called Outlook, and it offers members selected forecasts that can help them anticipate events of the future. So there was one a few months ago, just sort of an outlook for 2011. So these usually come out late in the calendar year, and it's for the following year. And there's a list of about 40 or 50 predictions. Not so much predictions, but things that are anticipated for the coming year. So it's quite interesting.
So a look at trends and extrapolating out from those trends.
Yeah.
As an added bonus, Vern, I understand that the 2012 conference of the World Future Society will take place right here in Toronto. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And as that conference gets closer, the 2012 conference, if I'm living here in Toronto, is there a place that I can go to get updates, to see what the theme will be, or to get other information about the conference as it gets closer?
Yes, you can go to the www.wfs.org, and there's a link there. It's called Chapters and Conferences. So if you go under that, for the conferences, there will be updates coming up for the Toronto conference in 2012, which will occur in July. I think it's early July, if I remember correctly. Also, if you register before the end of this calendar year, you'll have the lowest price. And it should be very interesting. It's rather unusual for the conference to be 2 years in a row in Canada. So this is the first time I think that's happened.
Well, certainly, I hope you enjoy the conference in Vancouver, and we're all looking forward to the World Future Society coming here to Toronto in 2012. Thank you so much for getting up at this early hour to join us here on CKLN.FM, Mr. Riediger.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful, wonderful morning.
Okay, you too.
And that was Vern Riediger, a futurist and a member of the World Future Society. He was good enough to join us to talk about some of the trends that he sees coming, the dangers and the opportunities that lie ahead.